Today we talk about the Olympics, the perfect hot dog, and the difference between nationalism and patriotism. It can be a slippery slope from one to another, and we must all remember to value our countrymen. If you like ketchup on your hot dog, you can connect with us on our Instagram, Twitter, or at our website. Mark!
Hello, my name is Edwin.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Frantic.
And together we are Tilted Not Stirred. So what has you guys feeling tilted today? What's going on, guys?
Well, I'm still doing this whole unit on hacking and stuff for my class. And man, this is the more I learn, the more it scares me.
Oh no. Are you hacking us right now, dude?
Possibly. Nope.
I feel like I'm gonna
No
ask
comment.
you that every time. Every time we talk. Like, are you hacking me right now?
Don't click on any links I send you.
Oh shit.
That thing you were talking about, how you can make a website ask you to download something, and then that in itself downloads malicious software onto your computer. That's
Yeah.
insane.
So I'll explain it a little bit to the listeners. There's a way to basically hook a website, make it like so when you click on the website, your browser's just, I got you, you're hooked. And then from a command center, I can essentially just send notifications to that website, and I can send notifications that are like, oh, you got logged out of Facebook, please log back in. Or, oh, this website needs an extension to be downloaded. Please click here to download the extension. And yeah, so you either give me your information or you download some malicious script. And
Wait,
get
so I haven't been downloading extensions?
possibly? I don't know.
Dude. See,
I
that's
mean-
I don't know. I don't even have an antivirus. Do we need an antivirus?
You're
We
supposed
like-
to be the antivirus.
Yeah, we like to think that we're literate enough in computers so that you won't be downloading stuff that you don't need. But if it's that easy to just be like, hey, give me your password to everything, and you just, I mean, I know sometimes I'd be logging into a social media or something, and it's like, oh, you've been logged out. Okay, cool. I'll just log back in. Don't even think about it. But you're saying that you can just do that and say, hey, you've been logged out, but you really haven't. And then here you go. Boom. You just gave somebody your password.
You just gave them your password.
Damn. What did you say was the number one threat to cybersecurity?
The user.
The user? Yeah, I'm
Yep.
that user. I'm a danger.
I mean, I feel we're all dangerous. I mean, it's just people don't know. And that's the thing. There's so many things the public doesn't know that it's wild to see how we've gotten so many liberties on social medias and stuff. And I don't know. It's kind of scary. Maybe the liberties are there so that you yourself can poison your own well, you know?
Yeah. All I know is that for those who listen and they only listen to, let's say, maybe the first 5 or 10 minutes of every episode, I feel like they're probably either really scared or really bored about all this cybersecurity stuff. like they don't know how they're supposed to feel.
They're like, God damn it, does Jeff ever do anything else?
Yeah, it's 4 weeks of this, and we're on week 3.
Getting close. Let's
Yeah,
see. What
almost.
I went to my homie's Laguna house for the weekend. So that was really nice. Got to, I don't know, just take a break from work and everything. Take a break from Pokemon Unite. And just, I don't know, enjoy the sun a little bit. We went to a fancy dinner. So that was really nice. And yeah, I ordered my ribeye steak medium, and they brought it back bloody. So maybe the chef was like, "Nah, this guy doesn't know what he wants. Here, this is how you're supposed to cook meat." So,
Well, medium is
It's pretty
still a
bloody,
little bit
yeah.
bloody, yeah.
is it?
Yeah, you're supposed to go medium rare.
That's the
Oh.
optimal way to eat meat.
Is it?
Mhm.
No, I'm
Well, I mean,
ignorant.
actually, no, we don't want to say things like optimal. We don't be definite about it because, some people are like, give it to me blue. and that's wild. You know.
Well, medium rare is where you cook it to the bare minimum of where it kills the bacteria, right?
Oh, I didn't even know that there was a science to it.
Yeah, so medium rare is how I get my steak done, and it's still kind of bloody, but it's not too bloody. So if you say like, oh, it's, I don't know, medium is pretty bloody though, for sure.
Yeah, it was super good. So I guess they know what they're doing. I kind of want to go to a nice restaurant and then say well done and just see what the reaction would be from the waiter.
I wouldn't.
I mean, there's got to be places where if you say well done, they'll just tell you like, you know what, we are not going to cook this. You can go somewhere else, or like in King of the Hill. It's like what like, you know, when Bobby was talking to his dad, like, we'll ask them kindly but firmly to leave.
Just go to like some super high-end steakhouse, order the Wagyu beef. Can I get this well done?
A little crispy.
No.
Yeah.
With a side of ketchup?
A side of ketchup. I know there's places that if you put ketchup on your hot dog, they kick you out.
What in the hell? What else are you supposed to put on a hot dog?
It's supposed to be mustard.
The hot dog is only mustard, yeah.
That's for the purists. Some
What the
mustard, some
hell?
relish.
Is this some like German shit? Like, why is it mustard? What happened to the ketchup?
Some German shit.
I feel like Americans put ketchup on everything, so there's no way you can tell me you can't put ketchup on a hot dog.
That's not the way you're supposed to eat it. You're supposed to eat it with mustard.
Imagine gatekeeping a hot dog.
I know, right? That's insane.
What about you,
mean,
Edwin?
I like my hot dogs with like a bunch of shit on it. I don't like eating hot dogs. I will never say, man, I could really go for a hot dog. That's not something I would ever say. But when I do, I like it to have, you know, the chopped onions on top, preferably, you know, a little toasted.
Grilled onions.
Give me
some picos, a jalapeno.
Yeah, some jalapenos, you know, throw in some chopped tomatoes on it.
Oh, fuck no.
Give me some chopped, you know, pickles are, I don't like relish. I like pickles, but I don't like relish. Give me some pickles.
I'm the opposite.
I don't fucks with either, so.
Relish is too sweet. I don't fuck with sweet.
There's relish that's not sweet.
Huh. I might have to go get that.
So what was your week like, Edwin? What'd you do?
I don't know. I've realized that I've become increasingly okay with like not doing much. You know, with this whole pandemic life, kind of just like, you know what? I'm gonna stay home. I'm just chill. You know, it's kind of weird.
Pandemic life. What do you mean? Is it because the resurgence that you're devolving back?
Like, I'm okay with being home, like, now. You know, before, I would love to go out, do things, and now I'm like, you know what? I'm okay with taking my days off and just de-stressing, not even think about going anywhere, and then just relax. I don't know. It's weird. I've done that for the past couple, like, three weeks, I guess, where I just stay home and just kind of don't do anything.
Yeah, I get that feeling, too. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, should I go out? Or and then I look over at my table with my computer and I'm like, you know what? It ain't much, but it's mine. And so I just sit down and forget about going out.
Yeah, I mean, you still handle your errands or whatever, but after that, it's just kind of like, I'm just gonna chill here. I'm just gonna chill at home, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I haven't been the most exciting person as of late.
What do you mean you're not excited? Messi is going to PSG.
Dude,
that doesn't excite you?
No, it doesn't. It's just for soccer. It's not like if you think of, I don't know, maybe this is me being an old man being, you know, like, these clásicos really aren't going to have someone who bleeds for the shirt. They're not going to have anyone.
Ronaldo has been gone. What was the Clásico?
But Sergio Ramos was still there.
Who gives a shit about Sergio Ramos?
Sergio Ramos is like the captain, dude.
Where
It had captains that still really, really cared for their team. Like Barcelona had Messi, and Real Madrid has Sergio Ramos, and it was just they were there and they were showing up, right? But now we have, I don't know, we have money
like
signing
a new gen.
Yeah, I mean, you know how much I love Eden Hazard, but Eden Hazard isn't like Real Madrid hasn't taken to him. He hasn't. I don't think he's taken to Real Madrid, even though he's like that was his dream. You know, he hasn't really played for them. He's always been injured. You know, he's just really hasn't played for him. And when he does come back, he's not fully applied himself to it, right? So now we have, I don't know, we just have two teams that are just lacking in identity. And it's kind of sad.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of soccer. Well, while some teams go down, other teams go up, and you just focus on other leagues, other teams. You wait for the Champions League. That's supposed to be the exciting time of the year.
But as a soccer fan, they're still the mainstays of Real Madrid and Barcelona. You can never discount them. And now it's just kind of like, even as they were like aging out some stars, right? Like some players would just retire and stuff. You still had somebody there to take up that mantle. You still had somebody who had played with the team already, and it's kind of like, I'm the new captain, right? And now they just have a bunch of youngsters or people that they brought in, you know, that I don't know. It just doesn't seem like they have.
How many games do they play against each other in the season?
I think like 3 or 4.
So you're crying over 3 or 4 games?
Well, I'm not crying over it. Like
you're saying that it's such a bummer and such a loss for soccer fans, but it's like there's gonna be a lot more exciting games elsewhere. This PSG is stacked. Those front three are insane.
And they brought in Sergio Ramos too, so it's just like they're back.
I saw a meme of basically Sergio Ramos tackling Messi, and then he just kind of Messi turns around like, "What the fuck, dude?" And Sergio Ramos like, "Force a habit."
I don't know. It's weird.
It's weird
really
to see them
right
together
now.
for sure.
It's really weird right now. I don't know. I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm excited every time we faced Barcelona. Our biggest upsets have been against Barcelona on the Champions League. It's always been like, you know, that one time we won, like when we won the Champions League the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It was Fernando Torres going around the keeper in Barcelona, and you know, by himself. And I watched the highlight every couple years. It was, I don't know, it's fucking great, but
you gotta look to the future, man.
Yeah, the future.
Those times are gone. There's new stars, new narratives being spun.
See, here's the thing, right? If Real Madrid had bought in Mbappe or gotten Mbappe sometime this season, and they had him, right? Like, you know that Real Madrid are gonna be in good hands. But I mean, Real Madrid right now have Benzema, you know, which is like,
dude, you're like, these teams are still fucking stacked. Like, yeah, they don't have maybe the top 5 best players on their team, but it doesn't mean that they're not professionals.
Yeah, that's true. They just have a bunch of youngsters though that haven't really taken to much.
And you create new stars, and everything's gonna be fine.
But like, you know what I'm saying, right? Where Carlos Pujols retired, Puyol, my bad, Carlos Pujols. So, you know,
you're talking about the legend, Dodgers legend,
when Dodger legend Carlos Pujols retired from Barcelona. No, where Puyol retired from Barcelona, you still had Messi. You still had people there that were going to be the mainstays of the team.
For sure.
Right now, Barcelona doesn't have. I mean, they have They have fucking Griezmann, but I don't know.
I don't give a
I think we're getting lost in the soccer talk, boys.
Okay, we're getting lost in the sauce. All right, all right.
Real quick though. Like, when do you think Messi should come to the U.S.?
Probably after these 2 years, he's probably coming. If not, if he doesn't come, he's not coming. I mean, he's just maybe he might even go back to Barcelona, retire.
We need well, that would be a kind of like a fairy tale ending, right? But I mean, it'd be kind of interesting if you get like Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, you know, some of these kind of players coming over, ending their careers in the MLS. I wonder if that'll bring some excitement. That'll grow soccer as a brand here.
There is talks that PSG aren't done, and next year they're bringing Cristiano Ronaldo. But
wow,
that's
you gotta love that oil money.
It's not even oil money; it's country money, dude.
The entire country. What is Qatar? What is their main thing?
Well, I mean, yeah, but the
Probably
government of Qatar, the government of Qatar is pumping money into PSG. It's kind of wild. But anyways, we are getting lost in the soccer talk. We should get into our topic today. What's our topic today, Jeff?
Well, funny enough, soccer goes hand in hand with the topic for today, and that's patriotism and nationalism. Right there is the World Cup, and yeah, that exhibits a lot of both of those. So with the Olympics just ending, I felt like it was a good time to talk about that.
The Olympics just ending, right? So we have the United States taking. Do you know how many they got?
The U.S. won 39 gold medals, I believe.
And what about the second and third? Do you guys know those?
Well, I guess it depends on who you're talking to.
Well, exactly. Let's go with
because we were kind of talking a little bit about China. The descriptor, again, depending on who you talk to, you can say China's being a little petty, or you can say that China has the right to basically, though they're second, right, at 38, so they're one below the U.S., but they want to claim Taiwan's 2 golds and Hong Kong's 1 gold, so then, obviously that would put them up. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the Olympics are basically dead, right? Or you think there's still a lot of national pride in that?
I think COVID definitely didn't help, right? You want to have the fans there.
Yeah.
You want to have the fans there. You want to have the people chanting, having that national pride.
Yeah. Well, what do the Olympics mean to you guys? Do you guys tune in? Do you guys watch?
Honestly, they don't mean anything to me. I don't really care.
Yeah, I stopped watching 2 Olympics ago. Now I'm relegated to watching the clips on YouTube.
Yeah, I just watched the Olympic highlights for the soccer matches, and that's about it. Yeah, I mean, I find them ridiculously impossible to watch, first and foremost. I don't know when or how or the schedule at all. I guess it's one of those things that you actually have to be, like, tuned in for and set alarms and,
Yeah, because it's not like during normal broadcast hours that we have here, like in the Pacific time, for example.
Okay, but even then, I don't know. This is me speaking. Okay, I do have a foot on one side, and then, like, I have nothing on this other, right? So the Olympics and the World Cup, are they as difficult to watch when they are on?
I'd say the World Cup is a lot easier to watch.
Yeah, because I don't think the World Cup has enough events like the Olympics to have a schedule going from sunrise to sundown.
So that's what I'm saying, because I do have a foot in on the World Cup. I do tune in. I do set my schedule around it. So I know about it. But like, let's say someone who doesn't really do what I do. Maybe there's people that do that for the Olympics. Maybe I just don't know that life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I imagine if what sport? Like, let's say if you're so in high school, if you played women's volleyball, then the biggest stage for women's volleyball would probably be the Olympics, right? Whereas if you're someone who grew up on basketball, you wouldn't really say that the Olympics is the highlight of basketball. You feel me? Because we have the
Yeah.
NBA, we have other things that are, I guess you can say, more competitive than the Olympics themselves. What about baseball, Jeff? Is a World Series worth more than the Olympics?
Yes, because in the Olympics, they don't send their actual best players like the U.S. team doesn't. Neither does the Dominican team because a lot of the best players are already here.
So then a lot of teams don't send their best. So in their own respective leagues, they value their their national championship more than the international one, right?
Right.
Is that how that
But
works? Okay.
but there is like a World Baseball Classic that was starting up. It got canceled because of COVID. But that's a little easier to work around because that's during spring training. So oftentimes you will see bigger players go to
big
that.
names.
Yeah. Because
right,
that's just your pre-workout, right?
Okay.
Let's talk about the main topic at hand here, right? So we're talking about nationalism and patriotism, right? So while you're watching the Olympics, while you're watching the World Cup, while you're watching, any sporting event, especially let's whenever you're watching a sporting event, it's very, very common for the commentators to say, "Oh, this man is from Nigeria. This man is from the United States." The United States,
etc.
Jamaica.
Mhm.
Yeah, they bring their nation up all the time, right? And then so we're talking about nationalism versus patriotism, and the definition for nationalism, right? It is just an intense loyalty or devotion to your nation, right? Whereas patriotism, it's gonna be the same. all right.
Well, what does it say?
It is a love or devotion to one's country. All right.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So
No, that's.
So
I mean, that would probably be why it's kind of hard to distinguish
define.
between the two, right?
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. But with nationalism, it's a bit of more like you're exalting that nation above all others. And, you're placing primary emphasis on the culture of your nation and the interest, as opposed to other nations. You're just putting it above. So it's a little bit more excessive patriotism.
So it's like nationalism is patriotism on steroids.
Yes.
Right. So then what does
Like
patriotism mean to you guys? Then
I was gonna say kind of like the Russian team, and that's why they got banned. But anyways, what was your question?
well, if we know nationalism is just patriotism to the extreme, so then what is your guys' definition of patriotism?
I mean, I at a baseline, you have to love your country, and you have to love your neighbor. I think that's something that's super lost. Where don't fall in love with like the government and like the idea, but kind of like fall in love with your brothers at arms, quote unquote, because the people you live in your community, you guys are fighting the battles together, right? That every day to day kind of stuff. So patriotism for me is just loving your country, but loving your neighbor.
I like that.
I like that a lot too. That's good.
Yeah.
And anything you want to add to that, Edwin?
I mean, I grew up super patriotic in Washington. I grew up singing "America the Beautiful" in choir. It was one of those things where the American flag growing up was a symbol of like inspiration. I would draw the American flag all the time. I would have American flag things.
Aww.
But growing up, it's like, I mean, I grew up in that setting of, people being super patriotic. And then coming down to Southern California and realizing, growing up, realizing that some people wouldn't consider myself as an American, it kind of taints things a little bit. It tainted, it didn't taint my love for the country. It tainted some of my relationship with the American flag, some of my relationship with, like, openly and outwardly explaining to the world that I am American.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think
I don't know.
I think that struggle has a lot to do with the fact that America isn't a race. So you like the thing that binds us together. You can't say it's our blood, right? Because a lot of other countries in Europe or even in Latin America, like the concentration there of people is like they're ethnically that, right? Like ethnically Mexican or like, Aztec, Mayan, like different Peru. They all have their different concentration of like ethnic bloodlines, whereas in America, like we're kind of
We're
together on an
multi-pod.
idea.
with the Native Americans.
Yeah. We're together with it with an idea, not really anything else. So I think that maybe the interpretation of the idea is kind of why it could be so flimsy, right? Where you have a lot of people that are super in love with America and all that patriotism, and then you have people that don't think that America's all that great, and so it's very, I guess, fickle in a way. What do you guys think?
Well, I consider myself somewhat patriotic, right? Because I do love this country, but like I don't necessarily agree with everything it does, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to be able to distinguish that. The blind devotion is something that I just can never understand.
Well, blind devotion to anything is dangerous.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, if you take, for example, a Mexican, and they're in their country, they're not gonna. I mean, yeah, they can talk shit about the government and stuff like that, but they're still proud to be Mexican. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so you can do that in any country. You can go to Japan, you can go to Korea, you can go to Germany, the UK. They can all feel at least proud to be where they're from. And that's kind of like the baseline that I would like to see one day, for me personally. Others can have different opinions on that, but just
Well, I mean,
at a baseline saying like you love being here, I think that would go a long way.
What
this
about
is
would rather
this,
not be anywhere else?
this is the only nation we know. I mean, even if we're Mexican Americans, right? Like, I wouldn't say I would give everything up just to go back to Mexico.
I've never been to Mexico.
I've been there when I was young, and I don't know. I wouldn't give everything up and just say I'm gonna move to Mexico, or this is the nation we know. This is the nation we grew up with, and it's okay to be proud of certain hardships you didn't have to go through by living somewhere else. But it's okay to be. You have to be accepting that you do understand you were given certain liberties, certain rights that other people don't have, but you also don't be blind to the struggles of other people. That at a baseline, it's okay to be really happy of where you're from, but don't diminish other people in the process.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, like if we're gonna, since the topic's nationalism versus patriotism, I definitely don't think it's okay for like the arrogance of Americans, right? Where we're like, we're number one and fuck everyone else. Like, definitely not that. So yeah, I think that's also, well, one of the reasons that the Olympics is just kind of like, it's not that it's trash TV, but it's kind of just like it comes and it goes and nobody bats an eye. It seems like it's probably because of the globalization that we've undergone because of all the technology, right? So you don't have to be so nationalist because like more of the rest of the world. You don't only know just yourself. So before it was just like you root for your own team, but when you know of all the other teams and all the other stories, that's when you're kind of rooting for other people, you know, like, oh, the US gets knocked out. Oh, well, I still got this team, that person, their story's great, you know. And so the question of like nationalism versus patriotism. Nationalism is on the back end, at least in like the Western Hemisphere, I believe. In other countries, they're kind of still under the thumb of the government, so they're kind of made to be nationalists in a way. But yeah, maybe I'm just rambling at this point. But what are you guys' thoughts?
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Jeff.
Em.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna touch on what he said about knowing about everybody else, right? I think that's definitely very important to be able to just grow as a person in general, right? Because a lot of times, like what xenophobia and racism, that all just stems from a lack of education. Like, it's just not knowing what other people go through, only knowing one side of the story. So just being able to have that access to knowledge of like, oh, these people have struggles just like I did. It kind of helps you grow as a person.
I mean, in college, I met a German girl, and we would just. She wants to be her main goal in life is to be part of the UN.
Oh, wow.
So she came over. Yeah, she came over, and I met her, and then it was just constant debates about being American, and she wanted to just pick my brain a little bit, because she's German, and she obviously, being German, you can't express your pride in being German as loudly anymore.
Yeah, I can imagine there's a level.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a severe level on expressing your nationality, your pride in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
So she was very aware of that, and she would always bring that up to me as saying, "Are you guys aware of your nationality the way we are?" I mean, I know they had something happen. Well, I mean, Nazis. They had, Hitler happen, but for us, we've gotten awfully close to, not awfully close because that shit was excessive, but we've been there where we've had leaders and stuff that, have done atrocities to the world as a whole.
For sure.
But we're still allowed to just be loud and proud about our Americanism, So she'd always just bring that up to question with me, saying like, how about this? Well, how about that? She was just very curious about how our levels. What was that, Jeff?
I was just gonna say, I think it's a symptom of history being written by the winners.
Yeah, because Germany was ultimately the loser, and
I mean, we only ever get shit on for Vietnam.
That's why that's why you have to win no matter what.
But even Vietnam was not like it like depending on again depending on
there now. So who
depending
really
on who you ask. Depending on who you ask, the whole Vietnam War, it's one of those things that divided the nation. Some of us thought we should be there, some of us thought we didn't, and where you fall on it is very. It also shows your patriotism, your nationalism for your country. Even nowadays, we still have people from the Vietnam War walking around, and it's just like, who are we to tell them? I don't know, like, fuck.
Well, it's the amount of in the example of the Vietnam War, we had a lot of casualties, and in the end, it was like, well, what was it for?
Yeah, it was ultimately for nothing.
And there was also the draft. That didn't help.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of shit that went down there, and since you didn't get anything out of it, it all seems so pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah, but touching back with what you were saying about your German friend, because one of my close buddies, he's German too, and he was telling me over the weekend that Germans love Americans. And I was like, no way. Like, I thought everyone hated us. And he said, yeah, because Germans like practicing their English and they like belittling Americans. because they think that we're so stupid. So they'll ask us stupid questions so that it's kind of like we answer back stupidly, and it's just kind of like I don't know if you ever met a group of Germans and they just laugh at everything you say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because
humor.
we're fucking entertaining to them because we're fucking monkeys or something.
Yep.
So,
I also that was one of the things we talked about too, that they see us like we're fucking stupid, and our president didn't help that situation.
for sure. But hey, you know what, Edwin? I hope you did us proud. You being the intellectual, I hope you showed her.
Yeah.
We had a lot of debates. For sure. But it's just I don't know. I would consider myself patriotic, but not out and proud with it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm remembering now. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of like the Today I Learned type of videos. Mm-hmm. And I watched a video on how do Germans teach World War II and the Holocaust, right? And I found it really interesting that Germans own up to it to the point where, like how your friend said, that they kind of like they recognize they can't be overly patriotic. But the way that they view the World War II incident, well, I mean, incident's an understatement, right? But they basically view it as an unfortunate series of logical mishappenings, right? Where it makes no sense for, in the time, right, leadership, Hitler, to do the things that they did, because clearly there was never going to be a way to win in that situation. So they view it more as like it was so illogical to do that. Do better.
It's funny because the events that led to World War II are really strange. Because who was that guy that got assassinated?
Franz Ferdinand.
Ferdinand, right? And that happened in what, Austria?
Mm-hmm.
And then World War I happened, and the Treaty of Versailles, I think it was, just said, "Hey, it's Germany's fault."
What?
So that Germany got hit with like a bunch of tariffs and fucking fines and all that other shit, which led them to be fucking broke as shit. The history books had those pictures of kids playing with stacks of money. And that's basically what allowed Hitler to just kind of come into power and be like, hey, it's not our fault, it's their fault.
I'll get us out of this mess.
It's these people's faults. And then that kind of springboarded into World War II.
Hi. Nationalism and patriotism in historical terms have really done a lot of countries dirty. It really has. Yep. They become so consumed, and I mean, even America.
Yeah, I'm sure the Confederates thought they were being incredibly patriotic and nationalist.
See, that's
Very
the thing.
true.
Okay, here's the thing, guys. I see a lot of people with Confederate flags and Confederate tattoos at my, in my like life. I see a lot of people like this, and they all followed Trump blindly, and they also had Nazi symbols and like they kind of agreed with all that Nazism stuff, but isn't that at odds with each other in a way? In some weird, I mean, maybe the Nazism and the slavery history of the Confederates is kind of parallel there, a little bit.
Well, I mean, it has the most parallel. The common denominator here is the white skin.
Right, but then again, as an American, you cannot be agreeing with the Nazis because of World War II. So you're
talking about the neo-Nazis, right?
Well, even then, yeah, well, neo-Nazis now, right? They have Confederate flag symbolism and all that stuff. But even then, like, as an American, you can't agree with the Nazis and still call yourself patriotic American, can you?
Well, I don't know if they agree with them, but I think it's more of those. It's like
You can,
factions, right? With the common enemy, where you have like that situation where the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I don't think anyone really likes neo Nazis.
Except themselves.
Yeah, well, I guess themselves.
And maybe not even them.
No, they love each other, dude. But
It just sounds like the common denominator there is hate.
that is true. Hate is something that binds us together. Would you say that hate binds us together more than love?
Absolutely.
Just like in general.
Think of 9/11. Everyone came together against the common enemy, and the fucking media riled everybody up. And 20 years later, we just pulled out of Afghanistan.
Well, yeah, we just pulled out, huh?
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's sad, but the fact that this war has been going on for the majority of our lives and we don't really think about it. Like, we don't think about it on our day to day, right?
Yeah.
And in the end, we like pull out, and then it's a shit show after we leave. But fuck it, we're out.
Yeah. It's kind of, I don't know, because I was reading stories on Reddit. People were sharing their, like, they have war buddies, and they were saying about how they never really felt welcome there. How some soldiers left the base for a little bit, and then the locals kind of left the gates open and let everyone rob the place.
Right.
And they would just be like, hey, we don't fucking want you here, get out. And now that we left, the Taliban's knocking on their door, and it's like, okay, well, you didn't want us there. So
It's tough, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, you gotta just let people rule themselves. Because if it fucks up, then it's their fault. But if we're there and it fucks up, then it's our fault. See how that works?
This speaking on expanding on the whole uniting us more than love, right? Like, there's a song called "Killing for Love" by Jose Gonzalez, and it's like, he's like, what's the point if you hate and die and kill for love, right? And it's just like, oh shit. It's like, what's the point of a love that makes you hate and kill for? And it's just like, what's the point of love if you're just, spreading hate, killing?
Yeah, I could see that. I think in the end, it's all about perspective. You guys touched on it a little bit when it comes to going to college and getting a broader view of the world and meeting a lot of different people. That's like one of the things that, even though I think school is a scam, I think it's great that even though I'm in debt, it feels nice to know that I got that experience where a lot of people never get it, and they're closed off and like their echo chamber within their, like, if they happen to live in a predominantly let's say if you're a Latino and you live in a Latino community, or you're white and you're in a white community, you never really get to experience everybody else, and you're kind of stuck with your outdated stereotypes and jokes that you could say around the people that are like you, but then you say that in a place or in a space where it's multicultural, then people will look at you weird.
Mm-hmm.
So
100%. I don't know. Like, I feel like I having gone to a situation like having gone to college and experiencing so many other different people and getting to know and have friends of different, cultures, coming back to your echo chamber and hearing that bullshit being propagated, being like spread, like to kids, to everything, it pisses me off for sure. And I don't know, like, one of those things that whenever this is a straight up like piece of shit defense, you're too sensitive. When they hit you with that, it's just like, come on, man. Like, you were just being a piece of shit. I called you out on it, and now you're calling me sensitive for it. It's just like, I don't know. That happens to me. That happens to me more often than I care to admit. But it's just like, you go experience different people, understand that different people come from different backgrounds, right? We're just talking about spam the other day, right? And it's like for me, spam, I would never eat it, right? Like that's one of the things I grew up with. You don't eat that, blah blah blah. It's weird ass
But
meat,
it's
blah
so
blah.
good.
Yeah, right. I to this day I've had spam, 4 or 5 times. Right? I want to eat it. I'm like curious about it now, but there's a history to spam, and cultures idolize spam. Right? It's part of their culture
Their
because of
cuisine. Mm-hmm.
historical reasons, right? And some people just straight talk shit on people who eat spam or something like that. Like, oh, these people eat dog. These people, it's just like, I don't know. Am I losing it? Maybe I'm just rambling right now because it's late. But I feel like experiencing other people makes you drop down those stereotypes and those ideas of high and mightyism where that don't really exist. You shouldn't be putting your nation on top of all the other ones because some nations do things way better than you do things.
Yeah.
Healthcare, America. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. I don't have to place America number one because it's already there. You're right. Yeah, let's not do this thing, guys, where we're placing countries and on a podium. We just accept that America's on top. Whatever, right?
Yeah, I just broke my tooth recently and I considered getting a passport.
What,
Think about that.
To go to Mexico or what?
To get to Mexico and get that shit fixed. Yeah. A passport was definitely cheaper than, but you know what I mean? Like,
Healthcare is definitely fucked.
Just that sentence. That sentence is embarrassing. I broke my tooth and I considered getting a passport. Why don't you go to the dentist, you fucking dumbass? Said the Canadian.
Why don't you get a dental plan, you irresponsible adult?
Yeah, just go to the dentist, forehead.
I mean, that's what insurance is for.
Yeah.
And if you don't got it, then you're shit out of luck.
Yeah, pay millions of dollars in case you'll ever need it. And when you do need it, we'll try our hardest not to give you your money. Insurance.
Well, it ain't millions of dollars, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Maybe we should do a podcast on insurance, on everything. Car insurance, house insurance, insurance in general, life insurance.
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I keep getting phone calls about that.
There you go.
And we could talk about the great that we can just maybe get a sponsorship with the website that makes insurance easy for you, and all you have to do with one click, you can compare rates and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I like that episode idea.
All right, insurance is our one of our next episodes.
Yeah, look out for that one in the future.
Look out for that one. Like our neighbors. Love our neighbors like State Farm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, is that it? Do you guys have anything else to say about nationalism versus patriotism or anything about that? Go ahead.
I was just gonna add that don't gatekeep patriotism, bro. That's it. There's levels. So just because you're super ultra patriotic and you fucking would die for your country, but someone loves the country, but hey, I'm not into that military. That's fine. You're both patriots. Move on.
Some more than others. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's a really good point because people support in different ways. I remember back when I got out of high school, I wanted to go to the military. I ended up going to school instead, but I thought to myself, "Oh, I'll be able to, support in a different way. Maybe I'll pay taxes. I'll donate to certain funds or veteran programs, etc." Right? So there's a lot of different ways you can support.
So what about the love it or leave it mentality? That's something that I brought up, never really talked about. Love it or leave it, saying like you will love this country, you will not talk shit on it, but if you do, you might as well get the fuck out. What do you guys think of that mentality? That you hear it a lot. You know, if you have any qualms with my country, why don't you get the fuck out?
I'm not a fan of that. I think it's stupid. It's gatekeeping again. It's saying that just you live in this country, therefore you can't complain about it. But like, no country is perfect. You're allowed to criticize. It's fucking in our constitutional goddamn rights. Freedom of speech. You're telling me it's un-American to criticize the country where we have the right to criticize the country? Bullshit.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, gatekeeping patriotism is definitely whack. What I will say is that the divide there is that when you have if we're gonna go based off left versus right, and people on the right side of the aisle, they really, how do I put it? They advocate a lot for the Constitution, right? And then they see the people on the left not giving, kind of disregarding certain wordings, or it just depends on if you're strict with the interpretation or not. And I think that's something that really divides us, because in the end, if we both love the country, then we should kind of at least have that respect. But then when people are like, you're messing with my rights and all this kind of stuff, and that's when people get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, I feel like the role of politics is you should have the same goal at the end, just different paths to get there. And I don't feel like that's the truth at all right now. Yeah. I feel like both sides have different end goals. Different
ideas of what the country should be like, right?
Yeah.
And so you're not only facing the battle of like what you want the country to look like, but on top of that, the means to get there. And it's just messy.
Messy to PSG, yes.
It's messy to PSG, boys.
Bro, I'm not going to lie. I was falling asleep during you guys' talk about that.
Sorry about that.
I'd rather not talk about that again.
Yeah, about soccer? About Come on, man. That's the world sport right there.
Hashtag not my sport.
I mean, every time I watch a sporting event, I root for the United States. I don't think there's any sporting event that I don't root for the United States. And if the United States aren't there, I root for the, whatever my favorite. I mean, I like the French, so I'll say French, but there's that.
Are we allowed to just shit on other countries the way that we get shit on? Or are we not supposed to, hit down?
I think they'll call it xenophobic or some shit.
No, I mean, I feel like there's a large portion of being American that shits on the French all the time.
Yeah, because they're cowards, right? That's the stereotype.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, that's the stereotype for it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, and there's a lot of things. Another portion of being American is also a toxic portion of it. Would be like, buy American. Well, I mean, it's not even toxic. It's buy American, fuck the Chinese government, blah blah, that stuff.
Well, there's a lot of things to that, because you don't want to be overly dependent on another country, especially if they're out here trying to take our throne. That's a whole nother logistical issue, and we just can't pay the rates that China pays their workers, so we're fucked, right? There's no way that Made in America will be cheaper.
Do we have to have a throne for the world?
I would say that, maybe a throne is kind of tough, right? Maybe it's just like as a
superpower.
As the number one superpower, you should have certain obligations to not be a dickhead.
Those two countries are getting in trouble over there. We should go invade. That's something that...
You guys think there'll ever be another invasion, per se?
Like another large-scale war?
Yeah, because, I mean, there's going to be wars, but Maybe I'm just being like ignorant and it's already happening, but I can't imagine in the modern world a country kind of invading someone else's land and then
I mean,
everyone being cool with it. Other than
no
like
one ever does.
in like Israel and like Palestine, like okay, yeah, that it's happening today, I guess. But maybe other examples. I wonder how that would look
I mean, we're already virtually doing it to each other.
virtually.
You know, I mean, yeah, with the the whole. I don't know I don't know any. Well, I shouldn't probably bring this up because I don't know much about it. But the whole Russian voting thing with the United States,
Rigging elections and
yeah,
I mean, I feel like it's always been a thing where other countries get into the affairs of others. When now they're just doing it in a much larger scale. Maybe Jeff's expertise one day will be able to explain all the cybernetic warfare that's going on. Maybe he'll be able to explain all the memes I get.
All right, so we're calling it. How about we just an ending thought? Let's see. Hit us with an ending thought, Jeff Fanik.
You want to go first?
Sure. I mean, I'm just gonna reiterate the point, dude. There's levels to patriotism, and there's no point in gatekeeping.
Cool.
Yeah.
My thing will probably be because we touched on hate being probably something that unfortunately binds us together more than love. I would say focus a lot on the things you love because you'd be surprised how your outlook on life will be once you realize like all the things around you that are positive and it's not all sunshine and rainbows and all that bullshit, but if you can find the small victories and the diamonds in the rough and maybe just think, you know what, maybe I'm not in the worst place possible, then perhaps if we all just loved each other a little bit more, we would be, I don't know, maybe just less shitty to each other and maybe other people will look at us differently.
So with all this love, where's there room for guns?
I love guns.
Second Amendment, bro.
Or that's a good answer. Good answer. I mean, I'll spread it out a little bit more, right? It doesn't really have to end with America as a whole. Say, learn to love the differences in other countries.
Oh yeah.
One of my I don't know why it's become one of the biggest like proponents of my personality is just to get people to experience different things, especially in the way of food. Like I really like going to different food places. Just like it's the easiest way to get into get an understanding of what another country does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so easy to just say, I'm gonna go try this, and then you try it and it gets you excited. It gets you thinking differently about your own worldview. And then just, I don't know, learn to love other cultures as a whole. I mean, we have a huge problem with Mexicans, but somehow we all love Mexican food.
That came out a lot worse than I think you'd think.
I don't know who we is, Edwin, but I agree. I hate him.
Oh wait, it came out a lot worse than I wanted it to sound.
Yeah, that came out.
Okay.
I always make that joke with my mom when we start talking about like Mexico and the government and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, they want to kick us all out," or like, "Oh, he said he wants to kill Mexicans," and I'm just like, I always hit her with the like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool." And then she'll just look at me wide-eyed like, what the hell? And I'm just like, I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding. I joke.
All right, Jeff, do you I guess because I was talking and trying to make a point here, I just didn't realize how it came out. Can you make that sound a little bit better? Or did you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes. There's an unfortunate issue, there's a lot of xenophobia towards Mexicans. We do not have a problem with Mexicans. We are Mexican. Us three.
Yeah, of course.
I'm American. What you talking
He was
about,
referring
boy?
to the country as a whole.
What are you talking about, boy?
I'm referring to as America as a whole. We all have, as not we all, but America as a whole has a big issue with Mexico and immigrants and stuff like that. Yet we all love Mexican food. Why don't we just start celebrating the things we do love?
Cool.
Yeah. So go.
Send us home, boys.
That's going to be the end of the episode. There it is. You can reach us at our website at tiltednuster.com, where you'll find links to our Instagram, Twitter, and Reddit. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.
Remember to join us and share your questions and voice your thoughts on what has you tilted, not stirred.
Later.